Hey everybody, I hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the Word. And today that word is retribution. Retribution. Now, have you ever noticed that when it comes to crimes and punishment, that we always want justice to be done unless we're the one in the hot seat? Then we want mercy. So, to try to balance that, even our society today has a hard time trying to figure out how that crime and its punishment should be fair. And really, what we need to do is to look back to God's word. God's word kind of sets it here in Leviticus, and it kind of gives a guidance for the whole penal code of how it will work, how it should work in their legal system. And some of this is even taken out of context at times, and we'll see what that is here in just a moment. So we're looking in Leviticus chapter 24 today. But as you read through, you'll see that it's got some things about the bread that they are to make, and then it changes gears and then starts talking. It kind of interjects this story of a young man who got in an argument with somebody else, and then you hear that this young man has blasphemed the name of God. And so then they kind of bring him in and they're going to wait and see what the Lord has to say about his case. And that's kind of where we're going to pick up the story today. So Leviticus 24, looking at verses 17 through 23 today. Whoever kills any man shall surely be put to death. Whoever kills an animal shall make it good, animal for animal. If a man causes disfigurement of his neighbor, as he has done, so shall it be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he has caused disfigurement of a man, so shall it be done to him. And whoever kills an animal shall restore it, but whoever kills a man shall be put to death. You shall have the same law for the stranger and for one from your own country. For I am the Lord your God. Then Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and they took outside the camp him who had cursed, and stoned him with stones. So the children of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. And just before the verses that I read, first the recommendation, or really not a recommendation, the command from the Lord was that this young man would be stoned. And he talks about the process of that, and then he gets into this. So there again, read the whole thing for yourself so you can see the context. But here it's the retribution instead of retaliation. It's justice instead of revenge. And the way that we typically and most people have taken this out of context is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And so what we look at is if somebody's done something to me, then I'm going to get them back, and I'm going to do back to them what they did to me. And they'll take the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And man, they take that and twist it all around. No wonder that Jesus said in the New Testament, right? Well, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And I think some of that was probably, you've heard it used the wrong way, but let's go a little bit further. And I tell you, if somebody does something to you, turn the other cheek. Humble yourself before them. Don't retaliate. Be peacemakers. And so that's another story in and of itself. So let's take it at what it's meant for. It was meant to be a system of justice where the punishment matched the crime. So it says if you disfigured another one, then okay, well, if you cause them to lose an eye, then you should lose an eye. That's essentially what he's saying. Now, whether or not that was actually done, it was the point that it had to match. But it's also countercultural. In the culture in which they lived around them, property was seen as the higher value than a person. And you think about this, even today in our society, that sometimes it seems as though crimes against property, crimes against animals, seem to rank higher than crimes against people. And so one of the things that God has set here is that, look, things against family, things against God, or one of God's creations made in his own image, people, those carried the heavier sentences. The fact that this young man in this story before blasphemed the name of God, and his punishment was death because he came against a holy God. And then also the other one that is commanded to be killed is that one that takes a life. And what he means by that is not that that is somebody that murders, right? It's not talking about even in war. It's not talking about and I would just say even in that self-defense. That's the word I was looking for. Not even in self-defense, but one who just outright murders. That's the punishment he's talking about. If you were to just needlessly take the life of another, then your life should be required of you. It's capital punishment, what we see as a guide here. Now, sometimes people look at it, and I mean, we even look to this and say, man, that's a little harsh, even for the guy who just blasphemed against God. Man, did he have another chance? We must understand the holiness of God. We must also understand that as God is setting these things in order, that, you know, at the beginning of a lot of these things, there are instances. Remember when Aaron's sons, remember when they were acting unholy with the things of God, how they paid with their lives. There were examples for many others. And I promise you that this young man was an example for many others, that you do not blaspheme and curse the name of God. I can only imagine that in the world in which we live in now, and the number of people that curse God and curse his name and blaspheme the name of God, use his name in vain, can only imagine how terrible that punishment is going to be in a place called hell. But the thing is, the retribution, the punishment will fit the crime. And the one thing we cannot forget is that every single one of us deserves the punishment for our crime of sin. And we deserve to go to hell. But Jesus Christ has paid that price for us. And it was so unfair. And we can't even cry out for justice. We are thankful for the mercy of God that saw fit to place Jesus in our place. And his blood can wipe our account clean if we'll just place our trust and faith in him alone. It's not retribution. It's not fair. It's grace. And it's mercy. Because it's from God, who loved us long before we ever began to love him. Today, I'm thankful for the justice and the retribution that he has set forth in society. But I'm also thankful that he saw fit to send Jesus for me and for you. God bless you. And I pray you have a great day.